Okay, so let's start the workshop. Like most of you would have heard about the machine learning stuff, like in the orientation or any other or anywhere else. You already heard the machine learning term. Like Mosaic and Cassandra are the machine learning events of Udyam'. So let's see something about machine learning. Let's get an introduction of what machine learning is. These are some of the mathematical definitions of machine learning. Like in 1959 and 1998, they have just wrote this machine learning definitions. But overall, machine learning, like it's an ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Let's see what the meaning of this. Like ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Like let's say you have a robot and you want to make it work. Like you will not write a program to make it work explicitly. Like you will not tell to move your left leg first and then move your right leg, or you will not exactly program that way. You will tell the robot to walk and it will learn by itself. Like you will have some program which will not explicitly tell it to move first left leg and move first, then right leg, but it has but you write some program which at last will learn how to work. In that way machine learning works. You will not explicitly tell what to do, but you will make the machine to learn. Like there's one more definition given by Tom Michael. It's somewhat complicated. Like a computer program is said to learn from experience E with respect to some task T and perform performance measure P. Like there is some E, T, and P. It's really confusing. So don't worry if you don't understand it. Let's see from an example. This is the definition given. This is the definition given in some 1980s. And let's say you have a task to classify it as a spam mail or not. Like you would have been seeing in Gmail that Gmail automatically filters the spam mails and keep it in a different folder. So how it is doing? It's the machine learning program under it. So let's see what is this task experience and performance measure in this context. Like your task is to separate spam mails and non-spam mails. Like your Gmail is separating the spam mails. So task T is subclassifying emails as spam or not. This is your task. It's the task T. And actually in most of the machine learning problems, there would be a data set. Like in this data set, there will be emails and it is labeled as spam or not. It's already labeled by humans, not by a machine, but a human already labels it as a spam or not. So using that data set, you write some program and predict an email as spam or not. Like a new email. Like you have a data set maybe of 1,000 emails, and for every 1,000 emails, you can say it is a spam or not. Like you already explicitly written it. Maybe a human has written it as a spam or not. And using these 1,000 mails, you have written a program, and with this program, you can classify any mail as spam or not. Not only these 1,000 mails which are there in dataset. Any other mail can also be classified as spam or not. So the experience here is the dataset, the 1,000 mails which are giving it, so that we can train on that and classify it as a spam or not. So the experience E is the dataset. The task T is to classify spam or not. The experience E is the dataset. And the third point, the number of emails correctly classified. Like you have 1,000 data sets. So maybe you have 1,000 emails. In 1,000 emails, let's say 50 emails are spam. After writing your program and after giving these data sets as input to your program would classify these 1,000 mails as spam or not. Maybe your program is not that efficient, so it could not classify all the mails as all the 50 mails as spam. Maybe it would classify 45 mails as spam. So this fraction of correctly classified as spam or not is like accuracy. Like 45 of 50 are being correctly classified. So 45 by 50 is the accuracy of your model. This accuracy is called the performance measure. So you have task as classifying as spam or not. You have experience, which is the data set, and you have a performance measure, which is called as accuracy, which is the number of emails correctly classified as spam or not spam. So using these three, you perform your task, learning from this experience, and you have to measure you have to have some metric or measure which tells your program is going in a correct way, and that is the performance measure. Like if your accuracy is increasing, your program is going in a correct way and you're performing well. So you need to perform the task, training it with this experience on the data set and improving this accuracy. So overall, every machine learning problem contains these three things: experience, performance measure, and task. These three things are obviously there in machine learning problem. If anyone is missing in it, it's not a machine learning problem. So this is overall what you see in machine learning problem. So let's see what is artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. Like generally people get confused between artificial intelligence and machine learning terms. These are widely interchanged, but let's see what explicitly what is the difference between all three. Artificial intelligence, like anything which tries to mimic a human brain is called artificial intelligence. Like you are trying to build a human brain. Like we have neurons, we see through our eyes, we think, we have some intelligence. When we are trying to give the same intelligence to memory to machine, it's called artificial intelligence. Like you try to make a model of a human brain, that's called artificial intelligence. And machine learning is the subpart of artificial intelligence. You already saw what is machine learning in this. So machine learning is just subpart of artificial intelligence. And then there is something called deep learning. It involves neural networks, like the exact model of human brain. Like our human brain have neurons, we prepare artificial neurons. Our human brain has neural networks, we prepare artificial neural networks. So preparing these artificial neural networks and using these artificial neural networks to make a task done is called deep learning. So artificial intelligence is the total set, which and machine learning is subset of artificial intelligence, and deep learning is subset of machine learning. So this way it is classified. And in Mosaic, we do deep learning stuff, and in Cassandra, we do data science stuff, which we'll see next in this slide. Okay, let's see the types of machine learning problems. Machine learning is broadly classified into three types: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. I have already told you, in most of the machine learning problems, we use a data set. And using of data set is only done in supervised and unsupervised learning, not in reinforcement learning. In reinforcement learning, we don't use data set. We only use data set in supervised and unsupervised learning. Let's see the type of data is used in supervised and unsupervised learning. In supervised learning, let's say for suppose you have images of cats and dogs, and all the let's say we have 500 images of cats and 500 images of dogs. All the 500 images of cats are labeled as 1, and all the 500 images of dogs are labeled as 0. Like you are explicitly telling the computer machine that all the cats are labeled as 1 and all the dogs are labeled as 0. So it is labeled data. When you send the labeled data to form a model, when you send the labeled data and train a model, then it is supervised learning. For suppose if I don't tell that all cats are 1 and all dogs are 0, I'll not give that information. I'll just dump the images of cats and dogs in this model, and that's unsupervised learning. What happened? Any problem?
I think two people have their hands raised. Samit, Dhar, and Piyush Mishra. If you have any doubt, guys, please unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, you're free to interrupt in middle. You can ask. I guess they don't have any doubt. Yeah, let's move forward.
And Rohan, please go a bit slow. You're going too fast.
Yeah, okay. So in unsupervised learning, we don't give the labels. We just dump the data. We just dump the whole data set into the model, and we somehow hope to classify this as a dog or a cat. How it is done, we'll see in the later workshops of a Mosaic and Cassandra. So in supervised learning, we take the labeled data and train it. In unsupervised learning, we use unlabeled data. Like we don't explicitly tell dogs as 1 and cats as 0. This is done in unsupervised learning. And in reinforcement learning, it's totally different from supervised and unsupervised learning. We don't even use data, and we learn from experience. Like for example, we are playing a game. So initially we program in such a way that if the machine learns from its experience, like it sees if my score is improving or not improving. If my score is improving, it will perform in the way it improves my score. If my score is not improving, it will not perform in that way. So it learns from experience of score. Like it sees the score, it learns from experience. So in that way, reinforcement learning is done. Okay, this is the basic broad classification of machine learning: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Let's see the applications of machine learning. The first application which is widely used all over the world is computer vision. Here you can see an image. Like in this image, you're localizing everything. Like you can see where the car is located in this image. You can see where the person is located in this image. You can see where the traffic lights are located in the image. Like you're classifying the whole image into parts, like car, person, traffic light, everything. You're classifying the whole image into some parts, and this is what computer vision deals with. Like computer vision mostly deals with images. Like you send these images and you expect some output, something to perform. This is what widely used in computer vision. Like most of the work done in Tesla is also based on this. Like this, as you can clearly see, this type of classification is widely used in self-driving cars. Like for a self-driving car, if it knows everywhere where the other car is, where the other person is, and where the traffic lights are, you can easily drive a car, right? So this is what computer vision is. The next thing is natural language processing. Like recently there was one app which got much famous all over the world, which is ChatGPT. I guess most of you guys would also know it. So ChatGPT is based on natural language processing. Like in ChatGPT, if you ask any question, it will give an answer based on its understanding. Like same like our humans. Like if I ask you one question, you think about it and give an answer. The same way, ChatGPT also thinks. Like you also give a question, ChatGPT thinks about it and give an answer. If you even ChatGPT can write codes like natural language in by using this NLP. ChatGPT is trained, and if you even ask to program a code, ChatGPT can write it. So this ChatGPT has become much famous nowadays. Like recently, OpenAI has done it. See that after the workshop. I don't have time to show you. So you can, and that's based on natural language processing. Like in natural language processing, we train on a language data set. So these are much things which are going today, going in recent times. And the third thing is data science. Like even a single click in your computer generates some lakhs of data, some millions of data, and every Google search you do generates millions of data. These millions of data is managed. These millions of data is managed, stored, and using this we can train a machine learning model, and we can do lots of things with it. Like Google recommends you what you want to search next. Like it recommends you because it has its history, and history is a data. And with this data, it will predict. It is able to predict what you can search next. So this is what mainly data science is about: handling data and predicting it, and trying to predict something. Okay, and the next thing is ML control robot. This is one of the fascinating research work going on all over the world. Like we are using machine learning to control robots. Like here you can see in the first image, it is not even able to go to the red block or green block. In second image, it is able to catch the red block. In third image, it is able to catch the green block. In fourth image, it is able to catch the red block, green block, and keep it in a box. So it is learning from its experience. It's learning from experience. It's a type of reinforcement learning approach. It's learning from experience. It's purely machine learning based controller. So even machine learning is used to control robots nowadays. Okay, let's see some example. There is a image. This is a bike, and you need to classify it as a bike or not. And you can see this an image. Your brain can sense it, so you can easily classify it as you can easily tell it's a bike or not. But that's not in the case of machine. For a machine sees this pixel values. Like generally like you all know, combining red, green, blue can generate any color you want, right? So combining red, green, and blue can generate any color you want. So the levels of red, green, and blue are the values of this pixel, So here this 194, 210, 201, whatever these values are there, it is the amount of red it is the amount of green, it is the amount of blue present in this image. So machine can see only these things. So it is really difficult for it to classify it as a bike or not, because these are just numbers. With these numbers, we can't predict it as a bike or not. So let's try. Like, you have this bike, maybe I'll select some 2 points on this image. Like, I'll select 1 point here and I'll select 1 point here and one more point here. Somewhere 2 points I would select it, and I would plot the values in graph. Like, I'll plot the value of pixel 1 in x-axis, I'll plot the value of pixel 2 on y-axis. Like, I selected 2 points and I'll plot the values of those 2 points on a graph. So, and I'll keep a plus sign for a motorbike, and I'll keep a minus sign for a not motorbike. Okay, so I'll plot for many images. Like, I'll plot for many images, and I have many images and I'll plot. Now, if I take a random point from it, I cannot tell if it's a motorbike or not a motorbike, because they are totally scattered, totally mixed. Like, here there are minus, here there are plus, and they're totally mixed, they're totally scattered. There is no uniform way in this graph. But let's say I have some way from which I can predict the probability of wheels, and I can predict the probability of handlebars. Like, in motorbikes, it has wheels. In motorbikes, it has handlebars. So probability of having wheel will be high, and probability of having handlebars will be high. So for motorbikes, probability of having wheels and handlebars will be high. And for non-motorbikes, in non-motorbikes, most probably wheels would not be there in it, and most probably handlebars would not be there in it. So probability of having wheels and handlebars will be less for a non-motorbike image. So all non-motorbike images, which are minus signs, will be together downward, down of this line, and all motorbike images plus signs will be above this line. Now I can use this line to predict it as a motorbike or not. I can say that if point is above this line, it's a motorbike, and point is below this line, it's not a motorbike. So basically, what you need is the probability of having wheels and probability of having handlebars. So probability of having wheels and handlebars is, you get it from machine learning. Like, you have some program, that program takes the images and it returns the probability of having wheels and probability of having handlebars. This getting of probability of having wheels and handlebars is a machine learning problem. After getting that probability of wheels and handlebars, you can predict easily from seeing the graph. So getting the probability of wheels and handlebars is much important, and for which you will write a program. So writing this program mainly involves a machine learning. And for writing program, we need a language. And in overall machine learning community, Python is widely used. Don't worry if you don't know Python. It's easy to learn, and the syntax of it is totally similar to English. So maybe you all will be learning C language in your semester course. C language contains much of int, main things, and many things which are not much similar to English. But Python doesn't contain any such types. It only contains it only contains English syntax. Like, it's very easy to learn. So let's move to Python. Till here, any questions? You can free to interrupt in between.
You can
Okay,
also put a chat box.
yeah, you can put it in chat box too. Okay, I guess nobody have any doubts. Okay, like, I sent a link. I sent a link of Collab link in chat box. Everybody open it. Like, you can code in Python along with me. It's really easy. Don't need to worry. Just open this link. Like, I'll be doing here same way. Do in your laptops. Nothing to install, nothing to worry. It's just there. In just a Chrome page would be open in in online only. You can code in Python. Just open this. As soon as you open this, you'll get this. Like, how many of you reached till here? Raise your hand. Just open it. Nothing to do more. Just open it. It's easy. Don't need to worry. Nothing you need to install. Just open it and you can run Python codes. You can do along with me.
Yeah, Rohan, let's give them a minute to open
Yeah,
the
yeah.
link.
Okay, I guess we can start. Right?
Yeah, we can go on.
Yeah. So okay, after getting it to here, open file and click save a copy in drive, so that you can all you can have a copy in your drive and you can run there. Click save a copy in your drive. It should have created a copy and you would be directed to a new page. I hope everybody has reached here. After that, press this connect button. It will be showing you like this, connecting, and after some time it will show connected for you. Okay, yeah, it's connected. So, okay, how many of you have reached till here? Like, please raise your hands. Okay, I'll give a minute. I'll wait for a minute. Afterwards, we'll continue. Click file, copy, after copy, connect.
Yeah, guys, and if you're stuck somewhere, you can unmute your mic or type it out on chat. We'll help you
Yeah,
out.
if you're stuck somewhere, you can ask. Okay, moving forward, like after now you have a Collab notebook in your drive. See, Collab notebook is an integrated Python notebook from which you can run all the Python code. Like here many Python codes are there, and you can run it. And you can run it without any installation in your device. So after reaching here, you can see this, right? And here there's a run button. If you click it, it runs. See, like the first statement here is initializing a variable. I guess everybody know what a variable is. Like there is a variable a, I'm assigning it with 10. There is a variable b, I'm assigning it with 3.0. It is a decimal value, so it's a float. It's not a decimal value, so it's an integer. And Python has a function called type. When you call this function type, and print it, it shows you the type of variable. Like I press type, I wrote written type A, so it gave int. Now if I wrote type B here, it will give me class float. Let's see that. See, it gave me float. Like I guess everybody able to do drill here, right? You can keep screen side by side, like my screen to the left side, keep the workspace there to the right side, see it and do it. Easy, it's easy, you can do it. Just clicking a button, right? So I'm initializing A with 10, I'm initializing B with 3.0. Like it's an integer, it's a decimal value, so it's a float. You have a type function which brings the type of variable it is. So I'm printing for B, it's float. I just printed for A, it's integer. Now the next one. These are nearly same, like plus adds both 10 plus 3, 13. Multiply just multiplies. This is, okay, let's write. No, serious, right? Plus just adds both A plus B. Multiply just multiplies 3.0 into 10, which is 30. And here star means power, like A power B. So 10 power 3.0, which is 1000, right? So it is 1000. And division 10 by 3, which is 3.33. And there's one more operator, which is integer division. Like it just gives you the quotient without leaving the remainder. Like in long division, 10 divided by 3, it just gives you a quotient 3, leaving the remainder. So these are the operators present. I guess everybody were able to run these both. If you're stuck anywhere, feel to ask. Interrupt me in a minute if you are stuck anywhere. Now let's see about strings. Strings is just, okay, you even have one more type, which is character. Like if I just keep C, this, you don't have any special type of character in Python. Like in most of you in your courses, you have seen in C++ that there is a char type, and for strings you use character of arrays, but that's not there in Python. In Python, everything is a string. Like if I just wrote this C, it's a string. So even if I print here, it's again string. See, I wrote here Udyam and assigned it to A, and it's again a string. So even it's a single letter or it's an array of letters, it's a string in Python. You don't have a character type in Python. And coming, okay, it's a type, and this is something special in Python. Like now if I want to access the second letter, it's in programming everywhere, it starts with counting starts with 0. So the 0th letter is U, first letter is D, second letter is Y. So print A of 2 should give me Y. So if I run this, see, it gave me Y. So if I keep here 3, it should give me A, right? So the fourth letter, yeah, for 0th letter, first letter, second letter, third letter. So A of 3 should give me A, right? Yeah, so A of 3 is giving me A. And Python contains something special called slicing. Like if you mention two indexes and with the colon here, it means it prints from 0 to 2, not 3. Like it will leave the third character and prints from the 0. Like 0 to 3 gives you, it prints 0th letter, first letter, second letter, like UDY. So it's printing UDY. If I keep to 5 here, so it will leave the 5th letter and print only till the 4th letter. So 0 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4th letter. So the whole Udyam has got printed here. And the next one is length function. Like length of A just prints the length of string. You have 5 characters, so 5. And there is something called negative indexing in Python, which you don't see in C language. Like what negative indexing actually is, -1 is the last letter, -2 is the last second letter, -3 is the last third letter. So in that way, you can give a negative indexing to it. So I get -1, so it's M. If I keep -2, it came A. If I keep -5, it give me U. So in this way you can give negative indexing to. like this for m minus 1, for a minus 2, for y minus 3. Pardon, any doubt? Yeah, I guess no. Moving on, like for m is minus 1, for a it's minus 2, for y it's minus 3, for d is minus 4, for u it's minus 5. And the next one is m in a. This is a special type. This is a special thing which is there in Python. Like it searches for m in the string Udyam'. If it is there, it returns true. If it is not there, it returns false. Like if I keep some x in a, it should return false because x is not there in Udyam'. So if I just run this, you're getting false, right? So if I just keep here u, it should give me true because u is there in Udyam'. So true. I guess everybody were able to run till here. Okay, how many of you are able to run here? Any problems or anybody got stuck somewhere? Okay, I'll stop for a minute here. I'll stop for a minute here. See if you have any problem for it, any problem anybody, if you got stuck somewhere, please unmute and ask. Or write in chat box. Okay, moving forward, I guess everybody reached till here. Moving forward, let's see list. Like in C++, you have arrays. In Python, in C you have arrays. In Python, you have lists. If you even don't know what are arrays or lists, list is generally like storing group of variables together. Like I can store this 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 together. Like there's a variable x list which contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, all the things together. Like here for a you only have 10. You're storing only one value for the variable a. In list you can store a group of variables and it is ordered, which means like you can access it. Like the first element is 0th element is 1, first element is 2, second element is 3, third element is 4, and fourth element is 10. Like it is ordered. Like you can access it to the square brackets. Like if I print x list 0, I'll just run this first. So if I print x list 0, 0 means the first variable, so it is 1. If I print x list 4, it gave 10, right? Because it's the fourth variable. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth variable means 10, so it gave 10. And the same thing as given in strings, there's a negative indexing, and even in list you have negative indexing. Like there's the index of this is -1, this -2, -3, -4, -5. Maybe I'll just keep here -4 and see what will. If I keep here -4, I'm getting 2, right? -1, -2, -3, -4. -4 is 2, and it's printing 2. Same way you have slicing also here. 0 to 2 prints the 0th index 1 and the first index 1, leaving the second index 1. 0 to 5 prints 0th index, first index, second index, third index, and fourth index, leaving the fifth one. So in this way it will print it. So if I keep 0 to 5, I guess everything should be printed, right? Because 0th, first, second, third, fourth. So it's printing till fourth index, leaving the fifth one. Actually the fifth one is not there here. If even it is there, it would be leave. 0 to 4, fourth one is leave, and 1, 2, 3, 4 I just printed. Okay, so I guess everybody had run this also. And next, this is like operations on list. Like if you keep x plus, there's an x which I declared as 1, 2, 3, 4. There's y which I declared as 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I keep x plus 5, individual elements get added. Like 1 plus 5. I'll just run this. Individual elements would not get added. Actually, what happens is it gets concatenated, like x plus y. So all the 1, 2, 3, 4s are initially placed, and all the 5, 6, 7, 8 are next placed over. place next to it. Like x plus 5 gives me a list combining these two, and x is placed initially, y is placed next. Like individual elements don't get added here. You can only just add two lists. You can't subtract or you can't multiply. Let's run it. See. You can't run it. Can't multiply sequence by non-int type of list. See, this is something more interesting than Python. Like in Python, even error can be easily understandable. Like you can easily understand here, right? Can't multiply sequence by non-int of type list. It's not an integer, it's a list, so you can't multiply. It's clearly there. So errors are also easily identifiable in Python. Yeah, that's right here. Next. And there's a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Now you want to add a number 1 to it. For adding, you use append. Like append will add the number 1 at last. Like if I just comment out this, I'll just print it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 and 1. So it added 1 at the last, at last. Now if I just, I added 1 at last and I'll remove 10. So 10 means 10 is there in this position, right? 10 is there in this position, it gets removed. So append is used to add the element at the end, and remove is used to remove the element by its value, not by index. Like 10, if I keep remove 10, so wherever 10 is there, it will get removed. So I added 1 and removed 10. So this is the output. Now there is something called insert also. Like append can only add the elements from the end. So insert can add the elements anywhere in between two. Like this is the index number and what you want to add. So I'll just comment out these and let's see what's coming. See here you can see this was our list. In this list at the first index I inserted 100. So this is 0th index. This is the first index. So here I need to get 100. So 100 and this 2, 3, 4, 1, 1 is just carry forwarded. So insert is used to insert it at specific index. And something is called pop. Pop is used to remove the last element. Like here it's there, 1 is there, right? So you can remove this. Yeah, see, you can remove this. See. Till here, this is the X list, and after pop, which removes the last element, this element has gone. This is the new list. Okay. And there is something called clear. Clear, if you call this clear, list will become empty. Everything goes off. List will become empty. So I guess everybody had followed till here. Everybody had run till here. If you have any doubts, you are free to ask. I'll again wait a minute here so that you can digest there's everything I told you till now. Even if you're not able to follow the Collab notebook here, after completing the session, once open these links and you can easily able to run these. See the recording and you can easily able to run these things. Okay, moving forward. Now we have completed lists, we have completed strings, and we have completed some basic arithmetic operations like plus, minus, into. So completed. Now let's move to looping, like for loop and while loop. And the syntax for loop and while loop is somewhat different. And in Python, this space is important. Like you have to give it this for x in x list, print x. I have written this, right? So after writing the statement, after this colon, whatever you write with a tab space here will be inside the loop. Like if I write here too. So now this print x is in this loop, and this print 0 is also in this loop. If I remove this tab space, print x is only inside the loop and print 0 is outside the loop. I'll just print first. I'll comment on this and let's print this. So x list is actually empty now, so nothing is printed. So I'll just write something. So now I initialize x list which 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'll just looping around the x list and 1, 2, and it got printed 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if I just included this print statement also with a tab space, like the same amount of space here and here, what I need to get is I need to, like, it will print X and it will also print 0. So I'll get 10, 20, 30 and 40. Let's see. Yeah, I got 10, 20, 30, 40. Now if I just remove this space and again run it, I'll just get 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. So whatever you have a tab space here is under this loop, and whenever you just start writing your code without tab space, it's not inside the loop. And this space should be same for both. Like if I just like if this space and this space is not same, I just add some more space to it, it gives you an error. See, it gave me an error. It's an indentation error. So space is really important in Python. Both you need to have same space. Like if both have the same amount of space, so it got executed successfully. So this is for loops, and Python contains a special function called range. Like it's similar to your C language for loop. Like in C language you write for int I equal to 0, I less than some number, and I plus plus or something. So in the same way, for I equal to 0, the 0 you write here, I less than maybe 10, the 10 you write here, and I plus plus, like you're incrementing by 1. If you want to increment by 1, you'll write 1 here. If you want to increment by 2, you'll write 2 here. So in the same way, if you want to increment by 3, you'll write 3 here. But if I just print it, I need to get 0, I need to increment by 3. So 0, 3, 6, 9. I need to increment by 3. So this I got it. This range function, it returns a list. I'll show you this. The range function is just, okay, it's not returning it. But what it contains inside is this I, right? So this I is, so this I contains 0, 3, 6 and 9. It's a list. This list contains 0, 3, 6 and 9. So this range function is used for generating sequence of numbers. Like it used to then, like, see, I wrote here in this comment, right? If you write range A, B and C, it starts from A, it ends before B, like I equal to A, I less than B, what you write in your C language. Same way, it like it stops before B and it increments C every time. Like if you start from A plus C, A plus 2C, it goes on till it reaches B, and it will not, it's not equal to B, it will not print B. In this way, range function is used. And there's similarly a while loop in Python too. While the condition will, and print statement, what you want to do inside the while loop, it's the same way. The space should be same. The space is different. Its base is different. Only first one is considered inside, and second one gives you an error if I have some different place, like different amount of space here. Both should have same space like this. So let's see what this is doing. Like I have some counter I equal to 0. I'm incrementing for every loop I plus plus, and I'm printing what inside the list. Like initially I equal to 0, and X list contains 1 initially, so it printed 1. Next I incremented I, so I became 1. So next and 1 it printed 2. Next I incremented, I printed 3. Next I incremented, it printed 4. After incrementing, it became 5, and length of X list is 4. So 5 is not less than 4. So the condition had became false, and it left the while loop. So this is how it works. It's similar to the C language while loop. If you even don't know about it, it's pretty straightforward. You can see here. And next is condition statements. Like even in C language, you have if, else if, and else. Here, else if is written as elif, elif. So A equal to 1 and B equal to 1. See what I wrote is if A equal to 1, print this. So if A is 1, it will print this. If this statement became wrong, then it will go to the next statement, like elif B equal to 1, and it will print this. If all the, you can write many elifs, like if I let's write like this, you can write many elifs, but you can only write one else. Like after if statement, you can write any number of elifs and only one statement. Like after first if statement, it goes to the next elif statement, next elif statement. After completing every elif statement, if all the elif statements and if statement is wrong, it goes to else statement. So if I just run this, So I got A is 1 because first one is correct, it went here. So if I just make it wrong, this statement became wrong, so it went to this statement. Even if I make this also wrong and this correct, it print C because I wrote C, so it printed C1. If I make even this statement wrong, like this statement is wrong, this statement is wrong, this statement is wrong, so it should print the else part. So it printed both are not. This is how we use condition statements. So again, I'll stop here. If you have any doubts, please keep in chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask. Okay, moving forward. After condition statements, we have dictionaries. Like list dictionary was also used to store more than one value in a variable. But dictionary is like a function. Like you have a key, you have a pair, and there is a mapping from key to pair. Like there is a letter A, and it is mapped to 1. There's a letter B, it is mapped to 2. There's a letter C, it is mapped to 3. There's a number 4, which is mapped to D. Like these A, B, C, and 4 are called keys, and this 1, 2, 3, 4 are called the values of these keys. And all keys need not to be the same data type. Like you can see here, A, B, C are strings, like characters or strings, because there's no character data type, it's a string. And this 4 is an integer. So all are not having the same data type, and even the values no need to be a same data type. Like 1, 2, 3 are integers, and D is a string. So they can be any different. Even in lists also, you don't need to have a same data type everywhere. So if I just write Q here, it's print. It's there's no error. Even having a different data type is allowed in Python. Maybe it's not in C language. Like in the whole array need to have the same data type in C language, but not in Python. Even elements can have different data types too. Okay, moving forward, like dictionary is made by using this curly brackets and a colon between key and pair. This is how dictionary is made. It's just a mapping between key and pair. It is changeable. Like you can change the values of mapping. Like okay, let's see first adding an element. Like here you have values key A, B, C, and 4, right? You don't have a key value 5 here. So if I just write like this, dictionary 5 equal to E, it will make one more. You can see here. Like I'll just run this too. Yeah, it went successfully. And if I run this again, you can see here that there's one more thing 5, which is mapped to E, is being added. So in this way you can add to a dictionary. And for deleting a dictionary, you have to just deleting element in a dictionary, you have to just try del and the element which you want to delete. Like maybe I want to delete this A and 1. So if I just do this, it gets deleted there. See, okay, I'll just print here again. It just got deleted. A1 is not there now. So for deleting, you use this way, and you can even change the values. Like B is there. It's now pointing to 2. It's now mapped to 2. I can change it to 3. See if I can just print dictionary. Yeah, see if no B is changed to 3. So in this way, you can change the values of dictionary too. Moving forward, now this dictionary.keys is used to get a list of keys present in it. So now for I in dictionary of dot keys, where this I is I is keys. Like initially I is A. After the first iteration of loop, I becomes B. After the next iteration of loop, it becomes C. Next iteration of loop, it becomes D. I'll just print here dictionary. You see here, first it would be B, next it would be I would be C, next I would be 4, next I would be 5, and I'm printing the value I and dictionary of I, which means value 3, which is pointing, which is stored as B. Like B is pointing towards 3, C is mapped to 3, 4 is mapped to D, 5 is mapped to E. So in this way you can print it. dictionary dot keys is used to get a list of keys in the dictionary. You can loop over it. This is a list. And coming towards tuple. So you saw first thing is list. List you also used to store multiple variables in a single one, multiple values in a single variable. Dictionary you also used to store multiple values in a single variable, but the difference between both is it's a mapping, and that's not a mapping. That's just a array type. That's just numbers, just values. But here it's a mapping. So next is tuple. Tuple is also ordered, unchangeable, and it allows duplicates. Like what it's also same exactly as list, but the only difference between list and tuple is you can't change the values. Like in list, it's here, right? Maybe a list right here. In list, I can change the value. See, now I'm changing the value present at index 2 as 3. See, at index 2 it became 3. If I just take 100, so it will be 100. Right? See, it's 100. So values are there. You can change the values in a list, but that's not the case of tuple. So tuple is initialized with this type of brackets. It is ordered, which means you can access the elements with its index. Like a of 0 gives me 1, a of 1 gives me 2, a of 2 gives me 3, a of 3 gives me 4, and a of 4 gives me 1. But I cannot change the values in it. Like I cannot keep a of 0 as 1. I'll just run these two. See, it's giving me error. I cannot assign an element. I cannot change the values of tuple. The only difference between both is it is not changeable, but list is changeable. So next is sets. Set is also same as list, but the only different thing is I cannot access with this index. Like it doesn't have any order. It's randomly scattered in a memory, and you can't access it. Like if I give there's a set which contains A, B, C. I'm adding to the set. Like for addition, you use add. So if I just there's an ABC in set, I just added A. It does set, and one more difference between sets and lists is it doesn't allow duplicates. Like in set, you have seen many duplicates. Like here you can see it contains 1 1, it contains 3 1s, but that is not allowed in sets. You can only have single value. You cannot have duplicates. Like this is already ABC. Now I added A, and I printed my set. You can see here A is not added again. There's only one A. You can't add multiple values of multiple values which are already there inside. So A is already there and you're adding A, so you can't add, you will not get added one more time. You won't get any error, but it will not get added one more time. Duplicates are not allowed. So this is set, and in set it is not ordered. It means like you can't access with 0, my set 0, my set 1, my set 2. You can't access this way. Like if I just see that, you can't access. Because error also is clearly understandable. Set is not a subscriptable, which means you can't access this way. And set also contains this remove element. Remove just removes A. Just see. A is removed, only BC is left. So in this way, there are sets in which you can't access with index, and duplicates are not allowed. And there is a tuple in which you can access with the index, but you can't change it, and duplicates are allowed. And there is a dictionary which is a key pair mapping. You can change the values. You can have duplicates, but you can't have duplicate keys. Like let me say you that A is already there as a key, so you can't keep one more key as A. So you can't have duplicate keys here. If you keep one more key as A also, it will just change this number, but you will not get a one more mapping for it. So it's duplicates are not allowed in keys. You can have duplicates in values. Like I can keep here 1, no problem. If already 1 is there, I can keep here 1. But here A is there, but I cannot keep A here. So it will just change itself. Like if I keep A equal to 1 here, A I'll map to 1 here, and again map A to 2. In the final result, you'll not get A1 and A2 2 times. You'll just get A is mapped to 2. That's it. It just updated. It gets updated to the value, and till there's no duplicates in keys. And the next one is list, which you can do anything with it. You will allow duplicates. It is changeable and it is ordered. Like you can access this way too. Okay, these are some of the basic list basic things there in this in Python. These are much useful in programming. Okay, any doubts still here? I guess nobody have doubts. Okay, why we continue?
Is the part over, everyone?
Yeah, over.
Yeah, sure. Download the attendance sheet, everyone.
Yeah, okay.
And also put the feedback form and the group link on the chat.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, can you please raise your hands if you have followed along with Rohan up to the point? Yes. Much more than expected. I guess it also might be overwhelming for a lot of people. Some people might think that this stuff is too advanced, something like that. Although it is trivial, I mean, the operations like addition, multiplication are all. We're talking about first yearites who have followed up to this point. Rohan, have you put the link on the chat?
Yeah, I'm keeping it. Feedback link.
Yeah, the feedback link too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the message says that we were happy to see you joining, but the workshop isn't over yet.
Workshop is not over yet. Still much is there.
All right, guys, let's start the next part of the workshop. I'll be putting a link in the chat, which is again a Google Collab link, just like the one Rohan. Is it there on the chat, Rohan? Please confirm.
Yeah, it's there.
All right, guys. Please raise your hands once you've opened that link.
परमिशन नहीं है इनके ना, access नहीं है.
Okay, there's no access. So surely you're opening it from the institute account.
Yeah, it's institute account. Still I'm on access denied.
Just a minute. Take the access. Can you open it now?
Yeah, now it's open. Now we can open it. It's showing open with Google Collaboratory. Click that. If you click that, it will go to another window where Google Collab will come. Okay.
Can you see my screen, Rohan? I've shared my screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Right. Start with this. All right. So let's start with this. Just let us start with how many of you know what's a programming library? Just raise your hands. Right. Around 15 or 20 people know what's a programming library. So a programming library is nothing. It's simply a collection of pre-written code. Let's say अगर तुम्हें कोई फॉर्मूला याद है किसी क्वेश्चन का, राइट, तो यू वोंट डिराइव द फॉर्मूला एवरी टाइम, राइट? तुम फॉर्मूले को बार बार डिराइव नहीं करोगे, तुम सिंपली उस फॉर्मूले को यूज कर लोगे क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने के लिए. दिस इज व्हाट अ लाइब्रेरी इज. अ लाइब्रेरी इज बेसिकली प्री-रिटन कोड दैट यू कैन यूज ऑन द गो. तुम उसे तुरंत यूज कर सकते हो. यू डोंट नीड टू राइट थिंग्स फ्रॉम द स्क्रैच एवरी टाइम. लाइक लेट्स से अगर तुम्हें दो मैट्रिक्स को मल्टीप्लाई करना है, तो तुमने अगर तुम्हारे कोर्स में होगा, अगर तुमने दो मैट्रिक्स को मल्टीप्लाई करने का कोड लिखा होगा, it's not very difficult, but it is a lengthy code, right? If you use a library to multiply two matrices, you just have to write one line of code and you can easily multiply two matrices. So this is what a library does. It provides you some pre-written code so that you can do your tasks easily without writing lines and lines of code, right? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Is my net lagging a bit?
Yeah, it's lagging now. You're not audible now.
Am I still not audible?
Now it's okay.
Yeah. So you can read the definition on the screen. NumPy is a library for the Python language, which basically adds the support for large multi-dimensional arrays and matrices along with large collection of higher level mathematical functions to operate on these arrays. What this basically means is that NumPy is a Python library which can be used for performing big calculations on numbers. Like you can also perform calculations like this, right? If I write 2 plus 3, it basically gives me 5. It knows this. But if I give it too many matrices, let's say around 100 matrices or 200 matrices or matrices with 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, 5 dimensions, the Python language will struggle to do the calculations. This is why we have this library called NumPy, which stands for numerical Python. Let's start learning the NumPy. How do you import a library? I guess a lot of you might know how you import a library. अगर तुमने C में कोड किया हुआ तो सबसे ऊपर लिखना पड़ता है include stdio.h, right? और iostream C++ में I think. So Python में उसी तरह you have to import the libraries like this. Import NumPy as np, right? You could have also just written import NumPy and could have worked. But every time I cannot write NumPy every time I'm going to use NumPy, right? So I'm just going to give it an alias. An alias is basically एक दूसरा नाम NumPy के लिए. I will call it as np in short form, right? This line basically tells that np will be the short form for NumPy, right? This is what this line says. Let's move on to the next part. Let's see what is the difference between a simple Python list. Python list तुम्हें just कुछ देर पहले रोहन ने समझाया होगा. Let's see what the difference is between a simple Python list and NumPy array, right? This is a simple Python list, as you can see. Square brackets, 1, 2, 3, square bracket close, right? This is how you make a list in Python. And how do you convert that list into a NumPy array? A NumPy array is different from a list, right? NumPy array is essentially a collection of numbers only, like the list, but it is a different data type. So to convert a list M, this is the name of the variable list M. If you want to convert this list, into a NumPy array, what you have to do is this operation, this thing. You write it something like this: NumPy dot array, and in these round brackets, you pass on your list like this, list M. This is what I have done here. You can remove this D type part. If I run this cell, I can have this NumPy array, which is just a collection of numbers again, but in a different way. You see list M, how list M and array M are different from each other. Array M is a NumPy array, whereas list M is just a simple Python list. You can also print the type. The type of array M is a NumPy array, and type of list is a simple Python list. Now, why do we need NumPy? As I told, NumPy is pretty let's say a lot better than a simple Python list. But how do we know that it's better than a simple Python list? I'm going to demonstrate how a NumPy array is actually better than a Python list. All right. So in this cell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two Python lists, right? Those Python lists will have nothing but numbers from 1 to 10 million. From 1 to 10 million, they will have numbers, and I'm going to add those lists, right? This is where I'm adding the lists. I'm making a new list, which is called list 3, and I'm adding each element from list 1 and list 2. Let's see how much time it takes for us to add them, right? So it takes 1.4047 seconds to add two lists. You don't have to pay attention to how the code works. You just have to take a look at the demonstration. Now I'm going to do the same thing with NumPy arrays, right? I'm going to convert those lists into NumPy arrays, which have exactly the same lists, which are numbers from 1 to 10 billion. And I'm going to add those two arrays element wise. Let's see how much time it takes for the NumPy arrays to get added. It takes only 0.033 seconds, which is much faster than the Python list, right? So now you get the point. Why are we using NumPy arrays instead of simple Python data structures? You guys are with me, right? Please raise your hand if you've been able to execute the code along with me up to this point. Very few, not a problem. Right. Let's move on to the next part, which is how do we create NumPy arrays in Python? So NumPy arrays are essentially just matrices, right? They're just mathematical matrices, जो हम 12th class में पढ़ते थे matrix. So NumPy arrays are essentially that only. So let's see how we can create a matrix and store it in Python. So this command np.zeros is basically a function that lets me create a NumPy array that consists of only zeros. Let's just execute the code once and see what happens. Okay, see, this is the output of the array. It's a matrix which has the dimensions 5 cross 4. It has 5 rows and 4 columns, and all of the elements of this matrix are 0. This is how you achieve this. You use np.zeros function, right? Now let's see. Let's just take a look at another way of creating a matrix, which is np.ones, right? If I execute this cell, I'll have another matrix which will consist of all ones. It's a NumPy that contains only 1, right? And the dimensions of the matrix have been passed here, 4, 5, right? If I change these values, let's say I make it 2 and 3. That's what happens if I make it 2 and 3. The dimension of the matrix will change. Now it's a 2 cross 3 matrix, right? We could have done this here as well. If I make this 4, 5, I'll get a new matrix which has 4 rows and 5 columns now. You can see, right? 4 rows and 5 columns, and all the elements are still 0. Now let's take a look at third way. This is achieved using the function numpy.full. Let me show you how this works, right? This is how we get it. Now this is a new matrix which has the dimensions 3 cross 5. right? It has the dimensions 3 cross 5, and all the elements are filled with the value 6. If I replace this with, let's say, -1, now all the elements are -1. If I make this, let's say 10, all the elements will be now 10. I can also also control the dimensions of my matrix from these values, right? If I make it, let's say 10 cross 10, now I have an even bigger matrix which has 10 rows, 10 columns, and each of those numbers are 10. I hope you have been able to follow until this point. This was how you make NumPy arrays and store them in Python. Let's take a look at array attributes. Now, attributes are just like properties of matrices. If I have a NumPy array, how do I know what shape it is, or how many values it has, or like what are the types of the values that I have stored inside the matrix, and that kind of stuff, right? So this function arr.shape, arr is basically a NumPy array which contains these values, right? Show you if I write print arr, right? So this is arr, which is the NumPy array I've created, 1 2 3 4 5 6. If I print arr.shape, it will tell me what shape the array is, which is basically 2 cross 3, right? It has 2 rows and 3 columns. This is how the function shape works. Let's see another attribute of array, which is indexing. Yeah, indexing. If I have this array, if I have any array, let's say this one, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and if I want to know which element do I have at position 1 comma 2, 1 comma 2 is basically first row, second column, and like that, right? Like in अगर तुमने C सीखा होगा, right? तो C में ऐसा होता है कि अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई array है, let's say ARR, you can use indices to access the particular elements, right? You can do this ARR 0, 0, right? This is what you must have learned in C. So Python में भी exactly वैसा ही होता है. You just use square brackets and write the index that you want to access for that array. Like if I run this one, I'll get this. This is the ARR array that I have, and the 14th element of this array is 14, right? Which is what we expected. But we also have, as Rohan told, we also have negative indices in Python. Like this array has 14 elements, right? No, wait a second. Yeah, it has 20 elements. It has 20 elements. So अगर तुम इसमें 20 या 20 से बड़ा इंडेक्स डालोगे, तो you expect an error, right? Like if in C, right? अगर तुम अभी C सीख रहे होगे, अगर C में तुम कोई array बनाते हो 1, 2, 3, right? And इसमें अगर ये है A, and if you try to see A4, if you try to take a look at what the A4 element is, you should get an index error, which is what you expected, right? Because there is no fourth element in this. But this is not how it works in Python, right? In Python, you can also use negative indices. Like the last index in here is 19, and this last index can also be -1. Like if I try to print ARR -1, wait a second, sorry about that. Yeah, if I print -1, I'll get 19, which means the last index is also denoted by -1, right? So 19 is at -1, 18 is at -2, 17 is at -3, 16 is at -4, 15 is at -5, and 14 is at -6. So this is what we had in the first place. If I replace this -1 with -6, I'll get 14 again. So this is how negative indexing works in Python. I think the slicing part was already told by Rohan, right? So I'm going to skip this one. Let's move on to mathematical functions in NumPy array. So if you have two arrays, ARR3 and ARR4, which have these respective elements 1 2 3 4 and 2 4 6 8, adding or subtracting or like doing any kind of arithmetic operation on those NumPy arrays is quite easy. In case of NumPy arrays, this is what you do. You just write ARR3 plus ARR4, and it will add all the respective elements. Like 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 4 is 6, 3 plus 6 is 9, 3 4 plus 8 is 12, and so on, so on. Same for subtraction and same for multiplication. Now, one thing to note here is that if you were using lists instead, right? If I was using lists, let's say 1 2 3 4, and b is equal to, again, the same values that we had earlier, 2 4 6 8, right? If I write 2 4 6 and 8, Right? See, if I add those two lists like this A plus B, I would get an entirely different output. It would simply concatenate those two lists. I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2, 4, 6, 8. This is not what you would expect if you were adding two lists, right? You would expect कि वो A के सारे elements और B के सारे elements को element wise add कर देगा. But this is not what happens in the case of a list. But this is exactly what happens when you have two numpy arrays, right? When you use the plus operator to add two arrays, it adds those elements element wise, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 4, 3 plus 6, 4 plus 8, and so on. Right. Let's take a look at trigonometric functions, right? So trigonometric functions, I guess तुम लोग को बहुत अच्छे से आते ही होंगे, 12th में बहुत अच्छे से पढ़े होंगे तुमने. Let's see how we can implement, like how we can use these trigonometric functions in Python now. If I want to, let's say, initialize an array which has all the values of sine, let's say from sine 0 से लेके अगर मुझे sine 4 pi तक सारी वैल्यू स्टोर करनी है इसी array में, तो मैं कैसे करूँगा? This is the function that we use, right? This is numpy.linspace. And इसका मतलब ये है कि I'll start from 0. अगर मैं यहाँ 0 की जगह 2 कर दूंगा तो वो 2 से स्टार्ट होगा. मैंने 0 रखा है इसलिए वो 0 से स्टार्ट होने वाला है. And this is the end value कि मुझे कहाँ तक जाना है. End value अगर मैं यहाँ मैंने वैल्यू रखी है 4 times pi, right? I've written this as 4 times pi. If I write this off as let's say 2 times pi, it will only go from 0 to 2 pi and not until 4 pi. Let me execute this cell first. Show you. All right. Why does this print cos x? This isn't supposed to be cos x. Yeah. Right. So the black line is sin x and the orange line is cos x. Right. If I replace now this 0, let's say with pi, I replace this with pi. So now the graph starts from pi, you see, and ends at this exactly same position, 4 pi. If I change the ending point as well, if I make this from 4 pi to 2 pi, now I get only the values corresponding from pi to 2 pi. This is how you can use this np.linearspace function. I hope you got it. If you have any doubts or if you're stuck anywhere until this point, please let me know. Hands raise कर दो या mic unmute कर दो. So if you have followed along with me up till this point, hand raise कर दो. Right, I think around 18 लोगों ने hand raise किया है. Enough. Okay, good to know. Let's move further to statistics functions. Statistics तुम लोग को I guess काफी अच्छे से आता होगा, right? Hello, am I audible?
No, it's breaking. There's lag. You're not audible.
अभी भी lag.
Yeah, there's lag.
Still?
I guess now it's okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Should I continue?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty straightforward. How do you let's say मैंने एक array बना दी ARR1, right? If I print this array, you'll see कि इस array में 1 से लेके 5 तक elements हैं. Right? This is what we mean when we say np.arange 1 to 6. It means कि make an array which has elements from 1 until 6 close bracket. So it does not include 6. 1 is equal to 5. Doing statistics is pretty easy. We have straightforward functions for calculating things. Like if I want the mean of all these numbers, I'll just do np.mean on that array, and I'll have the mean, which is 3.0. You can calculate it manually as well. It is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 divided by 5, which is 3. If you want to calculate the median, you can do that as well. The median for this array is also 3 because 3 is the middle element. If you want the average is basically the same thing as mean. Literally no difference. If you want to calculate the standard deviation, just use the function again. np.std is the function for calculating standard deviation. We're passing off an array. We're not passing off the ARR array that we were using until now, by the way. We are passing a new array, right? Which is 46352. We can also pass the previous array that we had. We would have the standard deviation for that as well, right? Variance is just the square of standard deviation, right? Yeah, so the 1.414 is square root of 2, and variance for this array is 2. The function that we use for calculating the variance is np.var. NP stands for numpy, by the way, if someone's forgotten. All right. This was all for numpy. Let's move on to the second library, which is pandas. Right? Is there anybody from first year who already knows about pandas? Raise your hand if you do. कोई ऐसा है फर्स्ट ईयर से जिसको pandas पहले से ही पता हो? I see only one hand, that is Vaishnavi. Nice. Good to know. So let's start with pandas. So pandas is just another library like numpy. वो भी एक programming library है, जैसे numpy थी वैसे ही pandas एक library है, but pandas is used for different tasks. Like numpy was used for doing large scale matrix operations. Pandas is used for handling the data that we have, right? They provide you with a huge set of important commands and features which are used to easily analyze your data. Like अगर तुम्हारे पास बहुत बड़ा, let's say Excel में तुम क्या करते हो? Excel basically data करते हो, right? तुम्हारे पास बहुत सारे rows और columns होते हैं, spreadsheet type data होता है, right? This is exactly what we have in pandas. जो तुम Excel में करते हो वही तुम Python में करने जा रहे हो. And the library that we use for doing that stuff is pandas library. So first of all, how do you import pandas? Importing pandas is pretty simple. You just do import pandas as PD. PD is the name that we're going to use for pandas. PD is the short form that we have. Short form for pandas that we chose. So imported pandas, right? Here comes the tricky part. Let's say I want to upload a data frame. I want to upload a data set. A data set is basically a file, a spreadsheet, an Excel file. I want to upload that file to Python, right? Pay a bit attention here. I want you to go to this session storage and upload. Okay, wait a second. Let me first. Srini, are you on the meet? Can you please send this file on the chat?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I send it.
Yeah, so you guys can download that CSV file from the chat box itself. right? Rohan, can you see? I'm uploading the data. Can you see it?
No, it's freezed. It's freezed.
Okay, it's freezed. Wait a second. I'll just share my entire screen. Okay. Yeah. Now can you see? I'm uploading the file.
Yeah.
Right. This is very clear.
Yeah, it's visible.
सबसे left वाला button, upload to session storage. You can go here and upload that file. Bengaluru house data.csv. I'm uploading it. Right. After uploading it, you should be able to see it here. Raise your hand अगर तुमने यहाँ तक कर लिया है, अगर तुमने अपने सेशन स्टोरेज में ये फाइल अपलोड कर लिया तो, और कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही है तो पूछ लो यहीं पे. Should I proceed? All right.
नहीं, एक बार फिर से बता दो.
एक बार फिर से बता दूं क्या?
हाँ, फिर से बता. कोई चैट में लिखा है, फिर से बता.
अच्छा अच्छा. देखो तुम्हें यार कोलैब स्क्रीन दिख रहा है ना? फिर से अभी इसको डिलीट कर देता हूँ, राइट? फिर से अपलोड करने के लिए. दिस इज वेरी क्लिक, राइट? अपलोड सेशन स्टोरेज, सबसे लेफ्ट वाली बटन, यू क्लिक इट एंड यू अपलोड द फाइल. बेंगलुरु हाउस डॉट तुम्हारे कंप्यूटर में जहां भी रखी होगी वो CSV, वहां पे नेविगेट करो और सिंपली इसको अपलोड कर दो, लाइक यू वुड अपलोड एनी अदर फाइल ऑन द इंटरनेट. And after it gets uploaded, it should be visible here. तो इतना डिफिकल्ट तो नहीं है, जैसे ड्राइव पे अपलोड करते हैं या किसी दूसरी वेबसाइट पे अपलोड करते हैं वैसा ही है. अंशु, क्लियर हुआ कैसे करना है? All right, let's proceed. So after you have uploaded it, you just need to run this cell, which basically says which basically commands Python to read this file, this CSV file, right? Once you have read the file, you store it in this variable called df. Df is the variable where we store that file. If I execute this cell, I'm able to see that file, right? वो जो CSV file जो हमने तुम्हें भेजी है, right? It is basically an Excel file. Excel तुमसे उसका एक्सटेंशन जो है वो CSV है. CSV को तुम Excel पे भी खोल के चेक कर सकते हो. It's just a spreadsheet data, right? You know, observe इसमें हम इसके टॉप 10 रोज देख रहे हैं और इसमें कुछ कॉलम्स है. एरिया टाइप, अवेलेबिलिटी, लोकेशन, साइज, सोसाइटी, टोटल स्क्वायर फीट, पाथ, बालकनी, प्राइस. एक सिंपल स्प्रेडशीट है जैसे तुम्हें एक्सेल पे दिखती है वैसी ही है. So df.head command is used to see the top 10 rows. Similarly, df.tail command will be used to see the bottom 10 rows. You can see the indices, right? These are the bottom 10 indices. Let me zoom once again. Right? These are the bottom 10 indices. df.info is yet another function. It is just there to get an overview of the file that you've uploaded. How many indices does it have? How many? What is the length? Like how many columns it has? It has 9 columns, right, from 0 to 8. What are the name of those columns? And this is basically the type of those columns, right? Object basically means it's a string. It's a string. I hope you guys know what a string is. And last 3 columns are float. Describe function is used to get again an overview of the file that we've uploaded. It tells you the mean of each column, the standard deviation of each column, minimum value, 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, and the maximum value of each column, right? This is what the describe function does. You can use df.columns function to take a look at all the columns, all the column names that you have, right? We have the area type column, availability column, location column, size column, variety column, and so on. Now let's say I want to access only one of those columns. I want to access the bath column, right? I want to see what values does that column have. What I will do is I will use df, which is the name of the file that I put it, name of the data, df square brackets, and I will use the column name, which is bath. If I run this cell, I'll get the values that I have in the bath column. If I replace this with, let's say, area type, I will get the values for the area type column. Let's leave these ones. It might be too difficult for the first year to follow if I run this cell. Right. Now let's say I tell you कि मुझे इस df डेटा में सिर्फ वो वाले रोज चाहिए जहां पे इस कॉलम की वैल्यू df.bath की वैल्यू 3 से बड़ी है, right? I only want the values. I only want the rows where the value of bath column is greater than 3, right? This is what this statement means. Now, if you check the bath column, this one has 5, 4, 4, 6, 5, and 5, 9, 4, 5, 4, right? None of them has a value equal to or less than 3 because we have filtered out those columns, those rows. This is what this statement means. It means कि इस पूरे डेटा फ्रेम में df में जो बाथ कॉलम है जहां पर वो बाथ कॉलम की वैल्यू 3 से बड़ी है, सिर्फ उस पार्ट को प्रिंट करो. दिस इज व्हाट दिस मींस. और अगर तुम्हें ऐसे मल्टीपल कंडीशंस लगानी है कि लेट्स से डीएफ का जो बाथ कॉलम है वो 2 के एग्जैक्टली इक्वल होना चाहिए और जो बैल्कनी है वो बैल्कनी वाला कॉलम है वो भी एग्जैक्टली 2 के इक्वल होना चाहिए. So you can use this syntax to do the same. What this means is the bath column should be exactly 2 and balcony should be exactly 2, right? This is how you write the statement. ये पहला स्टेटमेंट था bath is equal to 2 और ये दूसरा स्टेटमेंट था balcony is equal to 2 और उसके बीच हमने ये and ऑपरेटर यूज किया. तुम I hope तुमको पता होगा and ऑपरेटर क्या है. How many first yearites know what this operator is? And हैंड रेज कर लो अगर तुम्हें पता है and ऑपरेटर क्या करता है. कोई बता सकता है तुम में से क्या करता है? बोल दो अनम्यूट करके. ओके, सबने हैंड्स ही अनरेज कर दिए. ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम. ये जो एन ऑपरेटर है दिस बेसिकली स्टैंड्स फॉर एंड ऑपरेशन, राइट? एंड ऑपरेशन तुमने मैथ्स में पढ़ा होगा, राइट? ये होता है ना कि 1 and 1 is basically 1, right? And 1 and 0 is basically 0. तो ये ऐसा ही है. ये बेसिकली दो कंडीशंस का एंड करने के लिए यूज होता है, राइट? दिस इज व्हाट वी आर डूइंग हियर. वी आर कंबाइनिंग टू कंडीशंस. Remove this one. All right. What if I want to see the shape of a data, right? उसमें कितनी rows है और कितने columns है. So this is how I do it. I use the shape function, right? It shows me कि उसमें 13,320 rows हैं and 9 columns हैं. अच्छा, what if I want to drop a column? Let's say कि मुझे society नाम का column हटाना है अपने डेटा में से. So I can use the drop function, df.drop, and इस लिस्ट में मैं पास करूंगा मुझे कौन कौन सा कॉलम हटाना है. ठीक है. Hello, I'm audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. So this is how I can drop the columns. Right? I can just write df.drop and I can pass the columns that I want to drop. Right? इस जो डेटा मेरे पास आया है अब इसमें सोसाइटी वाला कॉलम नहीं है. लेट्स से मुझे इसमें से अवेलेबिलिटी वाला कॉलम भी हटा देना है. राइट? I can just pass off availability as well along with society. Right? And अब availability वाला कॉलम भी हट गया. This is how you can drop. This is how you can remove a column if you want. df.drop function. Right. I think this part is unnecessary. Yeah. So what if you want to save a data frame? Right? Let's say मेरे पास ये df तो आ गया है. Right? मैंने इसमें जो changes मुझे करने थे मैंने वो changes कर दिया. Right? मुझे कुछ columns हटाने थे मैंने हटा दिए. मुझे उसमें कुछ और operations करने थे mean निकालना था. उसका standard deviation check करना था वो सब मैंने कर लिया. अब मुझे जो नई डेटा फ्रेम मैंने बनाई है the changes that I've made to this data now I want to change this new data frame somewhere. So what I can use is I can do df dot to csv. This is the function that I use to save the new file somewhere, right? I just have to pass the path. मुझे बस वो path pass करना है जहां मैं उसको store करना चाहता हूँ. Let's say I call it new data dot csv, right? And you can see हमने उसको save कर दिया, right? Now we have a new file called new data dot csv. और ये csv बेसिकली एक नया फाइल एक्सटेंशन है. अगर मैं इसको मे बी xl करने की कोशिश करूं, नॉट एक्सेस, व्हाट इज इट कॉल्ड, sx होता है शायद. Yeah. So if I want to store that file in Excel format, I can also do that. Right? I just have to use to Excel, right? And वो XLSX format में store हो जाता है, which is an Excel file. So yeah, that was all from our side. किसी को कुछ doubts हैं तो पूछ सकते हो इस point पे. So was there anyone जो पूरा end तक follow कर पाया? Like रोहन का भी part या मेरा part starting to end तक follow कर पाया? कोई ऐसा था? कोई होगा. काफी लोग हैं. अंशु, समृद्धि, सोनाली, आयुष, हरजस कौर, साकेत, सायना. नाइस. काफी लोग. Good to know. I think we should stop the recording, right?
Yeah, I guess.